All right, candidates, thank you. We have some young people from local schools who have put together some important questions for you as well. I have no idea what they're going to ask you, so this should be a good adventure. Let's see, we're going to bring them up here, or they're going to stand down there? All right, this is Madison Fowler. She is the 4th grade representative from Monarch Elementary School. Madison, welcome. Go ahead and ask your question. I'll help you in terms of getting these answers.
I am Madison Fowler, representative of Monarch Elementary School Student Council. Our school is losing 3 teachers that are not going to be replaced due to budget cuts, causing larger classes at our school. We have cut our budget in so many ways, but not even having heat in our halls. Can you tell us specific ways that you plan to improve the education of our students?
Yes. Madison, will you come up here with me? Come up here with me. I've been doing this since June the 1st of 2009. That is the best question that I have gotten since I started. And I have a little girl that's not too much older than you, that's sitting right there. Education is what allowed me to be on this platform tonight. My great-grandfather was a sharecropper. My grandfather had a 6th grade education. Education is the only reason that I am up here able to be the circuit solicitor and even going to Congress. Education, in my judgment, is primarily a state and local matter. And although the state has tremendous budget problems right now, which is why you may be losing a teacher and your class sizes may be getting bigger, it's a wonderful opportunity for us to answer this question. What is the core function of government? What should government be about? I read in the newspaper that we were going to finance a golf tournament. No. I still read it. I still read it in the newspaper. It may not be true. Let me pick another example. You may read in the newspaper certain things that aren't core functions of government. That man right there used to be a police officer. That's one of the core functions of government, public safety, and so is education. So what I would encourage you to do is write your wonderful representatives and your senators and tell them that education is one of the core functions of state government. Need to cut, but don't cut education. Okay? Thank you. All right.
David.
Thank you. Yeah, it's being cut all over. It's tough. Now here's let me try to get to Madison's specific question. They're seeing cuts, local cuts, because we tried to make education as bulletproof as possible. That is, you cut everything else before you get to education. But in the past year or so, beginning last year, we found we've actually had to cut back even on education. I'm sorry to say we, the state government, because the general fund has simply dropped from was approaching $7 billion, and now it's down at around $5 billion. There are other funding sources that specific agencies have. It's called other funds. Now, usually that's a large part of that is with the universities, ticket sales and things like that. Federal government money comes in. But the key here is this. There may have to be some cuts with local schools. Madison is not as bad as it might have been because we tried to protect the schools first. That constitutes over half the budget. Might you all feel the pain? Yes, you are starting to feel the pain, but there was a time when we were making school sizes smaller so you would have more availability of a teacher on like a one-to-one relationship. Madison, it's a step backwards, but we're going to be able to move forwards with better situations for you, and I'm confident of that. If I go to Congress, hopefully it's not going to be quite so much in the federal hands, but the feds still have some responsibility there because they made themselves have a responsibility. So there's a joint responsibility. We're going to be trying to work on that to get you the best education possible, and it extends mainly from the state, but the feds, they've made themselves involved. It's called the Department of Education.
All right, Christina.
Well, this is a hard question for one of the members of this panel who's responsible for state government and its functions. This was not a surprise. It was not a surprise to anybody who knows anything about economics. The legislature was warned and warned and warned by the governor that you have to set aside money for a rainy day, that you cannot take every new dollar and create a new program, that the day would come when money would be scarce. The day would definitely come when people would retire and be eligible for pensions, which were underfunded. So we have been warned by wise people, and still the spending kept coming. So if your family were to run its family household that way, Madison, the day would come when you'd have to turn the heat off in your house. There has been, I'm sorry to say, among the adults, some irresponsibility, and I'm so sorry that you're having to suffer for it.
Jim.
Madison, one of the reasons I'm running for Congress is because I didn't want to look at my 5 children and have to apologize to them because my generation let them down. But that's what's happening. What we have here is an example of the government failing to do its job. If we look at the amount of money that actually makes it down to the classroom, as opposed to that is waste on overhead and administration, far too few dollars are making it to the classroom. That's a function of government and how well that administration works. Education is a state issue. I have been screaming and yelling for several years about the need for this state to reorganize and reform its state government. The Department of Education in this state is one of them that desperately needs reform. At the federal level, again, by reducing or eliminating the Department of Education and unfunded mandates that come from the federal government and enable education at the local level to manage its resources wisely, I don't think we'd be in this situation where we're having to get rid of teachers that we need and not have heat in our schools where our children are expected to learn.
All right, thank you, Candace. We have another